Hey everybody, it's Dr. Will Cole. We are here live in our Functional Medicine Health Center where we see patients around the world via our virtual functional medicine practice via webcam and phone consultations and locally in the Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania area. We've been doing these Facebook Lives over the last couple of months talking about different wellness topics, health topics, different functional medicine topics, kind of digging into deep to different ideas and tools for people to implement into their own lives to take their health to the next level. We took a little bit of a break over the holidays, so we are back. And I'm excited to talk with my brother from another mother, Dr. Brady. How are you doing, buddy?
I'm doing awesome, man. Thanks for having me on.
Yeah, thanks for joining us. Today we're going to talk all about brain health, guys. So put your brain health questions in the comment section below, and we'll try to get to them. And for those of you watching this on replay, you can still ask your questions and we'll check back and try to answer those for you. So Dr. Brady, tell everybody what you do, who you are, tell them what you do.
So essentially, nuts and bolts, I just love helping people transform their lives. And the main way that I do that right now is through our chiropractic office. I'm a doctor of chiropractic out in Westlake Village, California. So that's the primary way we serve our community. And then just recently, as you know, and kind of encouraged me to kind of take the next step towards, we just started a new project called the Neuro Lifestyle, which is all about uncovering every sort of health and lifestyle advantage to build the ultimate high performance, healthy brain and mind, which has just had an incredible response since we started about 4 or 5 months ago, and excited to be offering some courses this year, one on keto, one on intermittent fasting, another on weight loss. So I'm just really, really excited for this year to take it to a whole nother level and help more people.
That's awesome.
Yeah.
So talking about brain health, where do you see a lot of brain health problems stem from?
Yeah, for me, I always say there's like many pillars, right? Just like, as we've talked about before, there's many different pillars to health, right? We got, what you're putting in your body. We got how you move, how you think, stress, hormones, all these different things. But like the glaring weakest link in terms of brain health has to be the gut. That has to be like by far the biggest one. We've talked about this on my podcast. I mean, you said it. I love that you say this. The gut literally looks like a brain.
Yeah.
It literally looks like a brain. And there's a reason it's called the second brain. It houses all sorts of neurotransmitters and chemicals and hormones that relate and play a big role and influence on how the brain is able to function. And so, there's always that conversation, what works more, the brain over the gut or the gut over the brain? And when you look at the research, I mean, they're so interconnected and intertwined that you can't have one without the other. And inflammation in the gut has been directly linked to inflammation in the brain. Leaky gut has been shown to increase the permeability of the blood-brain barrier, which allows more of these harmful chemicals and toxins to get deeper into the brain. And especially when you're talking about the brain has to be one of, if not the most sensitive organ to inflammation. Inflammation in the brain can lead to things like headaches, anxiety, depression, difficulty focusing, paying attention. So when we're looking at this, by far the biggest, weakest link has to be the gut, for sure.
Yeah, for sure. I agree with that. So for you, I mean, we mentioned some of these brain health symptoms. For those watching this live and on replay, what are some signs that your brain isn't optimized? I mean, anxiety and depression are definitely there, but what are some of the other maybe less obvious and more obvious ways? Sometimes I think brain health can be kind of obscure when they're just thinking about memory, which is so important. But let's go over the big list of brain health problems.
I would say the big one, the one that I probably get the most response on, the one that people are really surprised about, is energy. So when you wake up in the morning, if you're not feeling great, yes, there can be some adrenal issues that are going on there. But like some of the big things that people find when you're just not feeling up to it, you're feeling like you're more fatigued throughout the day, your energy's just not quite there, you feel like you're not able to connect, kind of feel like you're just disconnected in a way. That's one of the biggest tall tale signs, especially if you remember like going through school and stuff. I remember there were days, and I wasn't eating as healthy as I am now. You get to 2 o'clock, you're like, man, my brain cannot work a single second more. Like, I am just so done. I'm going to zen out. I'm going to just completely just lose it for the rest of the afternoon. And that's one of the tall tale signs that your brain definitely has some inflammation that's wreaking havoc on its performance. Imagine inflammation is almost like resistance to your brain being able to do what it's supposed to do. And so when you think about the processes that the brain goes through, that can be one of the big ones, is just energy in general. Another one is irritability. People who just have difficulty managing stress and you just feel more irritable on a regular basis. That's a sign that the brain's not able to process all this information well. And now anytime something short circuits the fuse, the brain's going to respond, and that creates a lot of irritability things as well. And those would be kind of like the two main ones that are the more subtle ones. And then you can obviously go deeper on into more like, forgetfulness. You can go into anxiety. That's a big one. We've had a long history in my family, especially on the female side of our family with my sisters and my mom. Anxiety has been a huge issue. And one of the big things that's really helped them out has been really going for things that really reduce inflammation in the gut so that we can reduce inflammation in the brain. And it's just made a huge difference in their lives for sure.
Yeah, that's awesome. That's really helpful, I think, for people to kind of know what that even means. When we're talking about brain health, it's really far-reaching, and it's so common. I mean, people dealing with varying degrees of brain health problems is something I see with almost every patient. Even if they don't know it, they're just explaining it in different ways. It actually does have to do in part with their brain, if not entirely. Let's talk about solutions. And I know there's a lot of things out there, and people can get overwhelmed with Dr. Google and the endless vortex of information, conflicting information out there. So what are some of your top go-to tools to improve brain health?
One of my top go-to tools, actually, I'll give you my three top. Actually, I'll give you four. So really, like the first one obviously is eating in a way that's going to reduce as much inflammation for your gut, for your brain. That's one of the big tools there. Another one that I'm really fond of is ketosis. That's a big one. The ketogenic diet, there's so many amazing things that happen when your body can get in this state of ketosis and your body starts using this fat for fuel. And ketones are one of those few things that can actually cross the blood-brain barrier and supply the brain with this really clean, highly efficient fuel that helps reduce inflammation in the brain as well. So that's one of my favorite ones. We can talk more about that later if you want. Another one is intermittent fasting. I love intermittent fasting. I think there are so many ways to use intermittent fasting that can help heal the gut, but also restore that energy balance in the brain. And really one of the big things that made me fall in love with intermittent fasting was just how I felt in the morning and how clear I felt and how well my brain was working. Because intermittent fasting just gives your brain just a break from running on glucose 24/7 and allows your brain this chance to use this good, healthy, clean fat and be able to actually process that and just kind of heal the mitochondria of the brain and your neurons, which is really, really powerful. And then another one, which is obviously can't be understated enough, has to be exercise. Exercise. I would argue that exercise is more for your brain than the rest of your body. And that's a big statement, but I totally 100% stand by that. The exercise is so profound in its robust benefits for the brain. So those would have to be my top four, hands down.
That's awesome. I love that list. And that's something that most people can just start doing in their life today. They don't need a doctor. They can kind of just jump right into it and take action on their health. So I want to pack a few things there. Intermittent fasting. Can you tell everybody just a little bit about maybe some ways that maybe you do intermittent fasting or that you've seen good success with?
Yeah, for sure. So I'll give you a helpful tool because I imagine most of your listeners have probably heard of intermittent fasting before. They're familiar with the protocol of intermittent fasting. But what I really love intermittent fasting for is at the end of your fast, when you're getting ready to break your fast, your body is in this hypersensitive, just ready to take whatever you put into it. And this is such a powerful time to be able to actually use this to not only reduce inflammation, but to heal the gut as well, which I know you've talked about before. And so one of the things that I love to do during my intermittent fasting is at the very tail end of my fast, one, I like to work out. So right after this, I'm going to go work out and then I'll break my fast. And that's just really helps the body really just flush out a lot of toxins. You sweat, you detox. It's really great. Also has robust benefits for the brain, improving neurogenesis and busting up your BDNF levels. But also, right as I break my fast, instead of having to go for like that sandwich or even, a salad or something like that, I really like to go for either some sort of green juice or bone broth. And the main reason is those are already pre-digested, heavily readily available minerals and nutrients. And I love bone broth for all the additional benefits you get for healing the gut. Just getting good quality bone broth is a big deal too. And that's one of the powerful ways I like to ease myself into that transition, because if you go straight into having a sandwich or something like that just totally spikes your blood sugar right away, you'll find 2 o'clock comes around and you're tired. You're like, man, what was this intermittent fasting thing all about? So using that time as a way to heal the body and just flood it with nutrients. Imagine your gut's just been sitting there for a while and it's like, hey, we're well rested. We're ready to go. What do you have for us? and you throw down a green juice that's full of all these healthy detoxification, minerals and vitamins and nutrients, all of a sudden your gut goes like, oh, hallelujah. Yes, we have made it. We've made it to the promised land. And it's just such a powerful way, I feel, just revitalized body and mind doing that. So that's one of like my helpful tips here. And we can go into more if you want, or we can transition to something else.
No, I love it. Those are some awesome things. So for another thing you said that you love for brain health is the ketogenic diet. So I know that's something that you do a lot yourself in your own personal life. So maybe tell everybody a little bit about it, and then specifically, how does that impact the brain itself?
Yeah. So I'll be, full disclosure, I'm not 100% on the ketogenic diet. Like if you were to look at my macronutrient breakdown, the ratios of what I'm eating, I probably wouldn't be considered on a standard ketogenic diet. But the reason that I fell in love with it is because I started with the ketogenic diet, and that was my first instance. If you're looking at the ketogenic diet, really the whole goal is to get your body producing ketones, ketogenic, producing ketones. Makes sense. And the main reason I fell so in love with the ketogenic diet was how it made me feel. Like I just felt so alert, so focused, so calm. And there is something about when your body gets into the state of ketosis through the ketogenic diet that just has robust effects for your brain. One of those being it helps your brain actually use more efficient fuel, kind of like we talked about. So you're using fat, which is a much cleaner fuel source. And many people, that's one of the first things they know, especially when they're using intermittent fasting or the ketogenic diet. Wow, I feel so clear. I just feel so focused. I'm not feeling like bogged down like when you have all that bread or anything, pasta running through your system. The other thing we found is increases glutathione, which is really great for not just your overall body, but helps keep the brain nice and fresh and revitalized. And there's just so many other benefits, including increasing GABA. That's another one. One of the things that many people find when they transition into that state of ketosis using the ketogenic diet is they just find like, wow, I just feel really calm and focused. And so some of the people who really just fell in love with the neuro lifestyle and all the things that we talk about is more like the CEOs, the business types, because they find like, wow, my diet using ketosis and the ketogenic diet can actually have a profound effect on my productivity and how well I relate to people and how much I get done at work, because there are so many of these robust effects for your brain health as well. So that's really the main reason that I got into it. Now, disclosure, like I was saying before, I'm not fully on the ketogenic diet now. We use these as tools. So we use the ketosis and intermittent fasting as tools that allow us to get into that state of ketosis so that we can optimize our brain performance.
That's so cool. Yeah. And I don't know if you know this, but I do a podcast every week on a ketogenic diet too.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's right. That's right.
I get to talk about it every week.
Yeah.
So, okay, if you had to pick your favorite like go-to brain supporting supplements, what would they be?
My favorite ones, I'd honestly say most of it you can get from what you're already getting, but some of my favorite ones would be something like chlorella. I really like chlorella. That's kind of like one of those obscure ones because right now we have a lot of talk on nootropics. That's the big one out there. And one of the things that I put out there a long time ago was I think nootropics are great and I think supplements are really great, but as you've talked about before, you can do a lot of those benefits of the nootropics and of these brain supplements by what you're eating. And the brain is one of the most sensitive things to that. Yeah. So one of my favorite things in this, chlorella is definitely one, mostly for the detoxification benefits that come with that. It just really helps keep the brain clear and fresh. Some of the other ones that I really like are just high quality fats. So something like an MCT oil or even like a caprylic acid. If you haven't used those before, ease into it. It takes a little bit to kind of ease into for some people. But you will find using those, they're so ketogenic that they just make you feel just amazing. They keep you satiated. There's really, really a clean fuel source. And then some of the other ones that I use, and this is a really big one, is just a high quality DHA source. When you look at the brain is majority fat, and getting a good quality DHA is just so pertinent that it's one of the building blocks for building a healthy brain. It's essential. And the hard part now that we're finding is it's just getting harder to find good quality DHAs with the way we're sourcing our fish. So that's one of those things I tell people, do not skimp on a high quality fish oil or krill oil, anything like that, because you want to make sure it has good quality nutrients in there, it has good quality DHA without all the side effects that come from overfishing and producing bad quality fish. And those are the ones that I take hands down every day. And then depending on the person, they can kind of tweak and add in a little bit more there. But those would be like my bare minimums.
Love it. I love it. So And you guys look in the comment section below. We're putting some links of the things we're talking about, and during this conversation, one of them is the fact that what your favorite food. One of your favorite foods for the gut-brain axis and supporting brain health is bone broth, and getting a good quality of that, as well as a green juice and Bonafide Provisions. I don't know if you're familiar with them or not. They have a drinkable veggies drink, which it's a green juice with bone broth, so it combines both of those. So I'm a big fan of that, and Yvette on my team put the link below here so you can all see that too, and the other things that we're talking about in this conversation. So that's cool. All right, Dr. Brady. So for those of the people, if I could speak today, that would be amazing. For the people out there that want to get a hold of you, how can they learn more about what you do? Fill them in on that.
The best way to go find me is to go to theneurolifestyle.com. I'm sure you guys probably put a link below. You can find anything and everything you need to know about me there. And then for those who are maybe trying to figure out what ketosis looks like, what's a good transition to the ketogenic diet, how to make ketosis easy, we're actually coming out with a new crash course to keto coming out in a couple weeks here. So if you're interested in that, that's crashcoursetoketo.com, and you can find more on that.
Love that. crashcoursetoketo.com. You have a great, good, like I would say a guide, like a starter guide on your article on your website too.
Yeah.
Good stuff. Really good stuff. All right, brother. Thanks so much for talking with me about brain health, and we'll talk soon. I know that. Yeah,
absolutely. You got to come out to LA soon, man.
Yeah, we actually are coming in February and March. I'll shoot you the dates, and we'll hang out.
Yeah, please do, brother. Good to talk to you.
I'll talk to you later.
See ya.